to Louisiana Entertainment Experience. I'm Jared Guillory, and I'm sitting here with the wonderful Tony Goulas. How's it going, Tony?
I wouldn't describe myself as wonderful.
Oh, I would. This is one of the best local musicians. This is Louisiana's favorite flavor at its best. Tony, tell me something. What got you in music, man?
Ooh.
What started you? First thing.
That's I've always played. I think I had an old uncle that he wasn't much of a guitar player, but he always had he always gave me stuff, and he gave me a guitar. I guess it was him. I think it was him, and it had 3 strings on it. And so I beat it, and I didn't know how to tune it. I beat it until I got another one that had a few more, and then I think it was my father and my mother bought me a book, a Mel Bay book, because back then they didn't have internet. And
that would have been the white one with like the pink writing with the music stuff on the front of it.
The Mel Bay stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to. I mean, I didn't really know how to read until I joined the school band, and then I started kind of.
Now in school band, what instrument did you play?
French horn. They put me in a French horn because my sister played the French horn, and it was easier.
And they had one.
Yeah, there was already one there. Wasn't my preferred instrument, and so that's how I learned to read. Of course, it's a bit of a change from a monophonic instrument, play one note at a time, to a polyphonic instrument where you
carve and play in several. What was the first band you was in? Once you learned the guitar, you got to the level where you needed to.
Man, some of these guys are still out there playing.
Well, hey.
First band I was in, I had a guy, y'all might know him. His name's Jeff Tyler. Hey Jeff, if you're out there, I named you first. We had a band in high school, and we weren't. Let's just say we weren't the extroverts of the school. We were kind of.
Well, most musicians are usually the quiet guys that's looking for that out. And did music give you that out? Gave you that opportunity?
Yeah, pretty much.
To
but
show your personality.
I wasn't much of a player. He was a better player, and I learned some stuff from him. And there's a guy. Y'all might know this guy too. A guy by the name of Randy Knight. Randy's a drummer, and Randy lived right down the street from us. And so it was Jeff and Randy and a guy by the name of Mike Lindsay, who is a geologist now. And
well, he rocked.
Yeah. What's pretty funny is Jeff and Randy still have hair, but Mike and I,
it's the entertainer's life that caused that hair thing, man. I'm telling you. We were talking earlier, and you was telling me about some of the bands you were in. Like you were talking about when you first started, you was a rock guitarist.
Oh yeah. Well, again, those guys are around too. Mm-hmm. The better ones I was in, one particular was some guys from Iberia, and they were pretty accomplished. A guy by the name of Kent Email, who owns Email's Motor Supply in New Iberia.
Kent.
Well, Kent and I and
I ain't no free advertising.
I'm sorry, Kent. Pay attention. Sorry, I couldn't say Email's Motor Supply.
One plug. Good enough.
And so we did that, and we one of the guys that he kind of was in and out of it. Y'all know this guy too, a guy by the name of Bob Holbrook. Mm-hmm. And Bob didn't drum when I was in it, but Bob was actually a DJ, which is pretty dang funny. And all the guys in that band could sing, which is really good. Because some of the ones before that, that's how I became a singer, because the singers couldn't sing. But anyway, Bob, if I'm wrong, correct me. But Bob was a DJ for KSMB at the time, which is hilarious because that was during the time when
it was the rock station,
yes,
94 Rocks.
Right.
I remember a little rock with the headphones.
Yeah, and so the only other station out there that kids can listen to that kind of stuff, and it was even deeper, was a station out of Little Rock, KAAY, and you had to listen to it at like after 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And so that's where all the real rock songs came. Anyway, but Bobby he was privy to the songs before they came out on rock radio. And so we did, I remember this like yesterday, it was hilarious. We did, he gave us some songs, and one of them was Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son. And nobody had heard of the song back then, but Bobby hooked it up. Remember that, Bobby? Bobby hooked us up.
Well, we definitely got to send this episode to Bobby.
Bobby hooked us up, and we did this song on this Battle of the Bands thing, a bunch of 17 and 16-year-old kids.
So y'all actually played it before it came out,
song, which is hilarious. They said, "Man, I love your song." We didn't say
Now,
that.
do you remember the name of that band?
That was a band called Zeus.
Zeus.
And we still get together every once in a while. Matter of fact, let's see, besides Kent and besides Bob, there's Dr. I'm ashamed to say. Oh my God, I'll remember in a minute, but he's a doctor.
Oh, you do like me.
He's a GP.
After we're not talking about it anymore,
I'm going to remember it later.
Yeah. Perfect. Some of the other bands that you've been a part of.
From there, I went on to be with a funk group because rock wasn't making no money, but funk was making some money. So I went on to play with a band. I got hired by a band called Speed Limit, and Speed Limit was like one of the hotter bands from in that time, and it was one of the more money bands. So we made real good, and so I went from making nothing to making a lot. So I was pretty happy, and I liked the guys.
Now this band was Lafayette area,
yeah. Some of the guys had played with Gigi. Some of the guys had played with TK, and matter of fact, a guy by the name of Kenny Alamo played. He's also still drumming, and after he left, we hired a guy by the name of Herman Brown, Rat Brown, and I think Rat is. I think he's still playing, but a phenomenal drummer. And we had, they had some guys back then, and most of those guys were all older than me. I was like a kid, I was still, but like I said.
Now you was on the guitar or singing?
I was on guitar.
On the guitar.
Yeah. And I sang too, but I was on,
primary guitar.
Because they all had singers. But as it progressed and as the styles of music progressed, the songs that we were ending up doing, for some reason, were better acclimated for me. So I ended up singing a whole lot more over the next 4 or 5 years after that.
Okay, so Zeus lasted, and then what came after Zeus?
Well, it's like the whole Speed Limit thing, and that went on for a good while. And I really don't know how it stopped, to be honest with you. I know that I left from there for a while, and I went to meet with Danny Williams, and I was in Cosmic Sky for a little bit.
Now you're getting into some things that I'm old enough to remember Cosmic Sky. So we're getting into my generation.
So I had to stick with them, and it was quite enjoyable.
Now I'm going to pick on you. You told me a story when we was off camera that you're going to tell me a story while we're on camera.
Okay, I'll make it short, though.
You can make it short. You got to tell me the story about the light blue suit.
Talk as long as you want. Wait.
After playing with them for a while, because I worked on their album, and they hired me, and they wore these wonderful outfits, like Casey and the Sunshine Band thing. They were shiny bodysuit thing, and they had I remember vividly, some of them had the stuff.
So basically a spandex jumpsuit.
Yeah, very much. It was, it was a shiny yoga suit. Bodysuit. And it zipped up, if I remember right, it zipped up the back of all things. And so it didn't leave much room for imagination once it was on. Either they can see that you were okay.
So basically,
or they can see that you weren't okay.
Basically, I could get a mental picture of you in a sky blue bodysuit.
Yeah.
What color was the little tassels?
They were kind of a whitish, silver white.
So you were ready to be like in Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Well, yeah, I didn't get to the whole thing. That's not really how it came about. They showed up at my house. And they're pretty excited about, they all got down and they said, hey, the band leader, Donald Ray Charles at the time, was a big old fella, wonderful guy. And he's pretty giddy. He says, we got something for you. And he pulls this thing out. It's on a hanger. And I'm like, thinking, oh, dang. Like I said, I'm like 140 pounds soaking wet. It was like a stick putting on a condom. And, that was what was going through my mind. Anyway. So they wanted me to say, man, white people don't look good. Don't look good in that stuff. And they said, oh, come on, you're going to look great. So I said, okay, I'll make a deal. I'll go out in my bedroom, I'll put it on. And when I come out, if nobody laughs, I'll wear it to the gig. Well, I never had to wear it to the gig.
They all laughed at
Because
you.
they all laughed at me. So they gave me my way out. I have to mention that to Danny when I see him.
That's wonderful. Cosmic Sky had their career, and then what was next?
Ooh, okay. Well, I can. I went. Believe it or not, I went into country for a very short time. They had this. There's a guy that he's pretty well known around here, and he was playing with a band called Southbound. His name was Sammy. Here we go again. Sammy Kershaw. Well, Sammy was singing with him, and Sammy had done his. If I remember right, he was working on his first album, so he's kind of in and out. And they needed a singer, and of course, I'm not a country singer, but as fate would have it, there was a very popular up-and-coming artist by the name of T. Graham Brown, and he had like 4 or 5 tunes, and it was this kind of throat. So they brought me in for that kind of stuff, and they brought in another singer, and so I did that for a while. Not a long time, but for a little while. And then that's when I got, until Sammy got back. And that's when I went, I got hired by Fifth Avenue. Early, way back. So I don't know how long I was out with them. Bunch of good guys. We played a lot too, man. We played at the old stomping ground.
Out at Mon Ami. Yeah, that's something I did mention before the cameras was rolling. And it's kind of cool that a lot of the guys I'm getting to talk to spent some time playing through Mon Ami. But I remember as a youngster getting in the club. Now I'm not going to admit that I wasn't old enough to be in there, but later I was a youngster going to see Fifth Avenue.
Dude, I remember.
It was awesome.
I remember with Fifth Avenue. I remember opening up for the Rick James, not Rick James, but the Stone City Band and the Mary Jane Girls. Opening up for them.
Got a funny story for you with the Mary Jane Girls. When we were at Mon Ami, they insisted on their rider only green M&Ms. And when they bought about 8 bags of M&Ms, I was the only kid running around, which I wasn't a kid, I was a teenager. They made me go and sit down and pick out the green M&Ms so they could have M&Ms.
I know I couldn't talk to them.
M&Ms.
They had this big old
Yeah, they were real.
I was on the stage, yeah. They had. And they had.
But it was some good shows, man. And I mean, Fifth Avenue was one of the real fun bands. It was incredible.
It did. Yeah, it was a good experience. And I left them. I had some issues. Of course, they were all personal, and they were all mine.
It happens.
And I stopped playing for a little bit, very short time. And I got, and you guys know Andy Smith? Well, I played with Andy Smith for about 2 years. Had a great time with Andy. And it was time for me to stop after Andy. Of course, I haven't even mentioned the time before I got married that I was with Greg. I kind of skipped over that. I don't know why, because I sure enjoyed Greg Martinez.
Greg Martin?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know that guy.
It used to seem like Greg always had these killer guitar players. And one of them, who's, again, a close personal friend of mine, a guy by the name of Ray Mouton. I think Ray is playing for Doopsy right now, but he was out with Curly Taylor for a bit. Killer guitar player.
Matter of fact,
Killer bass player.
I ran into Andy maybe Thursday of last week. Andy plays, he does a solo gig at a couple restaurants, and I frequented a restaurant in New Iberia that he plays at, and we always chit chat. And he was talking about Mr. Mouton, and he had got to play with him last week at one of the casinos, and he was just giddy over the fact that he got to play with Ray.
Yeah, he's something else. And Ray and I still get together. But anyway, Ray he's like I said, such a gifted player, and I'm gonna give him a plug. A gifted player, but I guess maybe he was just so good that he would get bored. So they would get tired, because I remember Greg telling me, Ray's falling asleep on the stage.
It was second nature, huh?
So anyway, I don't know what happened. I think Ray quit. Or maybe it was a mutual thing, but it was like a couple of other things that Ray was in, and I get hired, and I'm thinking, I always have to follow this guy, so I better do something. So I sang a lot more, because I didn't have the skills Mr. Mouton had.
Well, I tell you what, we Hoyt and I had a conversation, and a lot of the other entertainers that's come on have given you A+s and 5 stars across the board on your abilities.
Good liars.
Person. Oh yeah. It sounds good. It sounds
Notorious
good.
liars.
But you know, whenever we get to know each other, especially through things, we want to know the person that you are. So I got a real serious question about. I need to know something real strong. You're from Louisiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite dish?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I'm from Brobridge. What does that tell you?
Hey, what part of the crawfish you like? The étouffée or the balled or which one?
The ball is my favorite.
Balled crawfish,
I could eat ball crawfish 6 days a week and eat étouffée on the other one.
That'll work. That's the best reaction that I ever got to.
And you know, I always wait until after the crawfish festival because the prices. Because the prices go down.
Well, I tell you what, guys, we're going to be back in a few. Y'all hang around like a hair on a biscuit. I'll practice that, Hoyt. We'll be right back.
I should have lied. I should have made believe. I should have closed my eyes and pretend not to see. There you were dancing, and he was dancing, and it sure didn't leave any doubt. You know I was made for loving you. What'll I do now? Reflecting back on the day we wed, baby, were you sincere in every word you said? We were standing with the preacher when we made those sacred vows. But you know I was made for loving you. What'll I do now? What'll I, baby? What'll I do now? What'll I? Tell me what'll I do now? Just take a look here at my heart. It's breaking. It's breaking. It's breaking. It's tearing it all apart. It's breaking. It's breaking, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's breaking the promises that you made. They're breaking. They're breaking, yeah, yeah. And all the loving that we made is breaking. It's breaking, yeah. What'll I do now? Hey baby, you're tearing my heart. You're tearing my heart.
Hi, we're back with Louisiana Entertainment Experience and my good friend, Mr. Ricky Goulas. Did I say Ricky?
Who said Ricky? There's no S.
All right, I tell you what, you can cut this off, and we can start this again.
Yeah, listen, the S is silent.
Listen, call me Ricky. It's good. I'll be
Okay,
cool.
okay.
I'll be calling.
Y'all all fussing at me way too much. This is some on the screw up reels.
I use fake names a bunch of times. Never use Ricky, but that's one to consider in case I ever do that again.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
We're back with Louisiana Entertainment Experience with my good friend Tony Goulas. We were talking about some of the things that built you up and throughout your career, and the good times, bad times, and a lot of things that's real inspirational about musicians is how they can go through these periods. And could you kind of tell us about some of the things?
Yeah. I'm just gonna. I don't want to get on too heavy duty, but I just kind of I had that was a rough patch.
Mm-hmm.
And if it would have been for my family, I don't know where.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I really don't know where. What would have come out? Particularly my wife is just stuck with me to thin, and then thick. So anyway, like I said, I got aware of a group that I was in where I was having some struggles, and I started going to church.
Faith is a strong thing.
I started going to church. It was I guess it was my rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the place I went, they kind of uprooted me from all the people that I knew, and in a weird kind of way, kind of like a rehab, they put me in with different people, and I was surrounded by a whole different bunch of people. So it's almost like I couldn't go back to that because I had this
kind of changed.
Yeah, and they were, and again, all wonderful people. And of course, like I said, at that time, I wasn't in the clubs anymore. I found a real job. I got a real job, and so again, we enrolled our children in a Christian school, and I just, like I said, I hate to say use the word I walked a narrow path, but I became acclimated, which was a wonderful thing, to live in that way, and it's like it changed me.
Kind of driving you,
much for the better,
you are.
And it's like I said, when you're that old man that doesn't know, because back then we had no structure, and what was good about this, about being in a faith-based organization where there was structure, it teaches you structure and it teaches you how to there was no boundaries before, or if there were, I ignored them.
Kind of gave you a guidance and almost a rule book.
And so, I got to say, okay, there's legitimately a heaven, and there's legitimately a hell. And so
you got to stay on the path.
I got to tighten up, and I have to be a good example to my children.
Exactly.
And thank God they were all young, and they didn't know that old guy, which is pretty neat. Anyway, so I started I didn't play for quite a while, and when I say quite a while, maybe 2 years. And I almost got to where I didn't want to play anymore. And there was a worship leader that had heard that I was a musician. And, whether you like it or not, your reputation kind of gets out, And so they talked me into it. And initially, they wanted me to audition. I said, I ain't auditioning with nobody. I'm not auditioning. And so anyway, I swallowed my pride, and as it turned out, they didn't really need a guitar player; they needed a bass player. So I said, well, so I played the only thing they had up there at the time was a big old T60 PV bass. That thing was about as big as I was.
Probably weighed more than you too.
So I played it for a bit, and then I forget how I ended up moving into guitar, but I went back and played for it. Now, I got some funny stories, but we're not going to talk about them. Even though they're good stories, I wouldn't want to incriminate anyone about that. But I'll just say that they like my playing.
You did well.
Yeah. And so I played at that particular church for a while, and then I went to another one where I met Hoyt, and I was on the worship team there. And I don't remember if they. I don't think they did. I don't think they knew I sang. Because I always just played. For years, I always just played, didn't sing. And I remember this one time, Hoyt will probably remember. I think you were there, Hoyt. They had a marriage seminar, and they wanted us, if we could sing, to pick a love song. And it was not a Christian love song, it was a love song. So I picked Percy Sledge's When a Man Loves a Woman, but I sang it like Michael Bolton.
You stayed kind of safe.
Not really, no. So I did it, but it was hilarious. Because, I did it, and it was a Saturday night banquet. When we got done, and you can ask Coy about this. When we got done, they said, "Hey, man, would you like to sing that on Sunday morning?" And I'm thinking, sing When a Man Loves a Woman on Sunday morning?
Really?
And I did, yeah. So anyway, I did that one, and they kind of liked it. I remember them asking me, "Man, how'd you learn to sing like that?" So I just sit in the clubs, man. I learned to sing it. If you weren't no good, you didn't get no gig.
Yeah, true.
It's simple as that. But I mean, I really didn't think anything of it. But I remember they had a guy, counselor, and I'm not going to say his name, but he was a very prominent guy. And so they had me sing it for his marriage counseling session. And he asked me, he says, hey,
Still, When a Man Loves a Woman.
yeah, that same song. So he says, "Man, how'd you like to come out on my seminars with me and do that?" And I said,
So did they think that was the only song you could sing?
well, over time, they gave me some other stuff. Yeah, they gave me some other stuff.
It just hit me. Do you realize you're drinking out of a Christmas mug?
Yeah.
Wait. A Christmas mug.
I'm a Christmas guy, man.
He's a festive person.
If I'd have known you had this cup, I'd have worn my coat. There's a perfect match to this.
Now, I noticed you mentioned that T60 bass. And I love
It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine.
Funny enough.
I
But I
remember
tell
it
you
was
what.
nearly the color of this coffee table. I remember, or actually, the stool.
The wood grade, yeah.
Yeah, and it was ugly.
So tell us about your new your solo career.
Oh.
Where you are now.
Okay, that kind of stems from me stopping at the church I was at. Well, we had other guys, and I'm going to be real light about this. We had other guys that were playing with us, and they were playing in the clubs, and they were hot because they were good, good guys, and that was just how they earned their living. So I remember being approached a couple of times by those guys, saying, "Man, why don't you come out and do some gigs? It makes some side money." Well, of course, I came from that, so I talked to my wife, because it had been a long, long time since I had those terrible pulls, and so I said, "What do you think, honey?" She said, "Well, are you okay? If you're okay with it, let's give it a go." So I said, "Okay." I put a group together, and that was before I started writing, and I decided, I want to do R&B because that's kind of where my throat is, and I'm gonna do stuff like
You
that.
definitely have the voice.
Yeah. So I put a group together, and I started doing that, but I stepped down. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to. I can't think of a word, but I didn't want to. I don't want to shine a negative light on where I was. I didn't think it would be proper. So I started doing that, and I did. While I was out there, I have a buddy, and I'm gonna mention his name, and I'll try to get him out here too. His name's Ken Holloway. Well, Ken Holloway is a wonderful country singer, and at the time he was contemporary country Christian singer. And I was in church, and so he needed a band, so we put a band together for him. And anyway, we got to play. We did the Ryman, we did the Opry. It was great. Got to do a bunch of stuff. Met some of them guys like Russ Taff and all. Met Chuck Cannon, Russ for Toby Keith. Quite a few people. And we did a recording. We cut an album for him in Jackson, Mississippi, with a guy by the name of David Huff from David and the Giants. He had a wonderful studio there. And while I was there, David, who's a phenomenal guitar player and a great guy, he's got a real heavy, real thick, rednecky accent. And so we're sitting down, he's got this gorgeous Neve console. And I remember, because it was quite a long time ago, it was before the days of the flat screen, and it looked like this big TV thing. It was the old Apple computers. It looked like the back of an egg. Anyway, so he's at the console, and he says, I'm sitting down there listening to what we had cut. And apparently I made a bit of an impression on him, because he said, "Hey, brother," he said, "you like that guitar over there? It's beautiful green Stratocaster type flat, flame top, quilted maple top." So, "Yeah, man, that thing's gorgeous." He said, "There's an old boy down your neck of the woods, builds these guitars. He was here and I liked it, so I got it from him. He said, "I need to get you guys together and hook y'all up." So he calls him right there. The guy, he's a wonderful builder, Gerard Malonzo Guitars. So he hooked me up with Gerard, and like I said, it's amazing how you meet these people by chance meetings, and then through another person you get lifelong friendships.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty cool, But anyway, I went far back. I kind of got off topic. I started doing my own thing, and but I went there to tell you this. While I was there in my friendship with Gerard, there was a young man. He was 16 years old at the time, and his name was Wes Walker. And Wes was working for Gerard, and Gerard. I remember Gerard telling me, "Wait, come back here. You need to hear this kid. This kid's crazy good," and he was not wrong. Anyway, so. We had I had a connection to him, even though he was much younger, and I'll try to bring him out with me if I play because he was just that good. So anyway, over time, Wes got married, and Wes moved to Nashville, but we stayed in touch, always stayed in touch, and he rolled with some heavy hitters, And again, it's just about no instrument that he could pick up that he can't master. So we did some some different things together, and then of all people, I was not even thinking. I was kind of.
So your involvement with him kind of pushed you out into yourself.
Well, a bit. It actually stemmed from, like I said, my wife. She said, "Why don't you write and do it for others? Why don't you write your own? You've written for other people. Why don't you write for yourself?" So I thought about it. And I said, "I'm gonna give it a go." Well, again, I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, why don't you write for yourself?" He said, I'll help you. He said, "Well, we'll cut one." And he was working. I think I could be wrong, but I think at the time he was doing some stuff at Ocean Way, and he's.
I tell you what, I am awesomely glad that he pushed you into it because you're incredible. I love your music. Like I was saying when you got here, I'm going to burn up iTunes as much as I can. I'm gonna get some. Let me ask you one question. What is your favorite song? What's your favorite original?
It's going to be one on that album. I've got two of them. It's probably the one that gets played the least.
Really?
It's called "Couldn't This Be Love," and the neatest thing about that one is it's a very simple part. And the reason I say it's my favorite because I wrote one for my wife, and it's not a sweet love song. It's a song called "Honeybee." Because I call her Honey, and so anyway, it's like a blues shuffle. But anyway, the one I like. We were cutting, and I remember I was doing a solo, and I was just all over the place. And I said, "Man, I need to just play it like I'm singing it." And so, of all things, I started humming, and then I started whistling it, and I'm cutting the track, and I'm whistling the part to make sure. I mean, I didn't think you could hear it.
Yeah.
Because I was running direct to a cabinet out there that was mic'd. Well, apparently I had left the console mic on. So
it picked you up.
The whistle was in there. So I send him the tracks. I send Wes the track. Wes is mixing them out there. And he says, "Pay special attention to the solo. I want you to listen to the solo." So I'm listening to it. I said, what is that other sound that I'm hearing? I can hear.
And that's on the song.
Yeah, and he said, I put your whistle part in there, and I'm whistling it and it's very faint, but it's enough to change the tonal structure of the guitar.
I can't wait to hear it.
So
I'm looking forward to this.
Put it on cool. And my second favorite is a song called "You're Mine," and I've been offered to recut it by a few other people, and it's more like it's kind of like an OJ's kind of song.
Now these are available on iTunes. Well, good. And your new album is also available.
That's my last one.
Okay.
And I'd like to be like everybody else and say, I'm working on another. But you know what the truth is? If I am, I'm just starting to.
Okay.
Because I've actually committed. I've got this project that Hoyt knows about that I'm pretty stricken with is the Love for People Foundation that's working for the aging blues musicians, and I kind of like to give my time.
That's an awesome goal.
And because a lot of those guys, I mean, they're super, super, super talented, and they get that time in their life where that's all they've ever done, and they've been they've been a talented blessing to so many, but after a while they can't travel anymore, and they can't make the income like they did, so they're kind of caught between a rock
Kind of
and a
helping
hard place.
support
Yeah,
the artists.
so-
That's a wonderful
Yeah. And
project.
If the truth of the matter is, if I would have gone the path I went, it's very possible that I would be a recipient from that foundation.
Very true, very true. And that's a way of giving back, and it's awesome. Guys, I enjoyed my time talking with Mr. Goulas. You are an incredible person. Get on iTunes and enjoy the music. Like I said, I'm about to burn up everything I got left on it because your music is incredible. It was wonderful to have met you. I enjoyed this time. Please come back and see us, and we can talk
sure
more
will.
about some
I
of
sure
this is
will.
looking for. I'm Jared, Louisiana Entertainment Experience. I'll be looking for y'all from the tractor. Y'all have a great day.
I tell you what, Jared.
Oh, I enjoyed talking with Tony, man. This was awesome.
Tony Goulas.
He's incredible. He's incredible.
Man, I tell you what, we got to keep this rolling. We need y'all support, and that's what we're here to talk to you about right now. I tell you, can I get an amen? I tell you what, we need it. We need it. We need it.
It was a lot of fun. It was awesome. Yes, definitely. If you would like to see more of Tony talking about his equipment and some stories that he didn't say publicly,
Yeah.
we need.
You gotta come see him. You gotta Patreon. You gotta sign up on Patreon. Sign up on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/LAENTX. Our lowest membership account is only $2 a month. $2
But
a
the
month.
crawfish one is cool. I like the crawfish one.
Oh, that was awesome.
Crawfish is
That was
awesome.
He talks about a bunch of stuff. But we have some other things. We have our round table sessions and our leftovers that we put on there that only members will see. You gotta go. You get a free t-shirt.
And it's a lot of fun.
It is. That's a good one. You got to go check it out. So go to LAENTX or patreon.com/LAENTX and sign
I make
up.
him nervous whenever I'm next to him. You think I'm a cap on you, but I'm not. We all good. But yes, definitely go to. That's what it is.
It's the coffee.
And it was caffeinated.
Or it could be the track.
Very caffeinated.
I'm joking. But yes, go to Patreon and sign up. It is worth it. It is incredible. Some of the background things we have.
That's it. And I'm Hoyt. So next time,
And I'm Jared.
give a hoot and a holler to a coot and a collar and catch Jerry on the track. Y'all have a great day.